Merry Christmas Eve and happy holidays. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mackenzie Lake here with a look at our full Christmas Eve forecast. Let's talk about all this activity we have going on because this is going to be heading down towards the central coast. So low pressure, it's off the Aleutian Islands. It's spinning currently. It's creating a big plume of moisture for those areas in Northern California. You can see we're picking up on moderate to heavier amounts of rainfall, but we are on the tail end of this system. We're starting to see rainfall currently. I think we're going to hold on with those wet and windy conditions until about 2 p.m. before we dry out just in time for Christmas Day. Before we get into that, I want to talk about all of our watches, warnings, and advisories. Very active morning on tap for us. So we're waking up to very dense fog. That fog advisory in effect until 9 o'clock in the morning. This includes the entire coastline here, and visibility could be down to 1/4 of a mile. So low beams are imperative, and of course, with visibility problems and slick roads, you'll want to take it extra slow heading out this early Christmas Eve morning. We're also still tracking those coastal conditions, those hazardous marine conditions near the west-facing beaches. That coastal flood advisory issued by the National Weather Service now expires by 9 o'clock in the morning. So still important to note that early this morning, those swells are very dangerous still. Rip currents extremely dangerous as well. We also have that high surf warning, that high surf advisory. These will not be allowed to drop off until 9 p.m. tonight. Still expecting 25-foot waves. Again, that possibility of minor flooding along the coastline, especially for those west-facing beaches. That's a main topic of discussion, especially for our marine conditions, but we're still expecting those impacts on land as well. So as this cold front continues to approach the central coast, those winds are picking up. We're already starting to see those gusts upwards of 25 miles an hour in San Luis Obispo. Most of the area underneath a wind advisory. So those sustained winds could be upwards of 35 miles an hour, gusts ranging anywhere upwards of 50 miles an hour or greater. This will be allowed to drop off by 7 p.m. this afternoon. And if you have any outdoor decorations, patio furniture, you'll likely want to bring it back inside, not only because those winds could blow it away or damage any of those outdoor belongings, but we're tracking that rainfall as well. So it's going to be a wet afternoon. Take a look at our 8:30 in the morning time frame here. So this is that cold front passing through. I do think we're just going to have those light showers. That first pulse moves through, but take a look at the second pulse. That's right along the front here, 10:30 in the morning. I think that's actually the system that's going to make it down to Santa Barbara. Just very minimal amounts of rainfall, not expecting big impacts here, likely not even measurable, but we'll be seeing those rainfall amounts upwards of about 1/4 of an inch just a little bit further north of Gaviota. Heading into our Wednesday, high pressure begins to build in. That's going to be our best friend just in time for Christmas. We're going to dry out. We'll actually see those clouds clearing out pretty nicely as well, and it's going to be just a picture perfect Christmas ahead of us and a really pleasant work week as well. Let's take a look here again at future track rainfall. As I mentioned, around that 1/4 of an inch mark for those areas further to the north, our northern communities, a little bit above that in San Luis Obispo, but just into the 1/10 of an inch down in Santa Barbara, even less in Ventura County. Here's a look at our coastline. You can see back up into the 60s, 63 here in Santa Barbara, 64 in Montecito. This is a pretty stark difference compared to yesterday. So with this front moving through, it's bringing in that very cool, unsettled air. A lot of the central coast will be back up into the 50s and 60s. Definitely going to be a warm cup of coffee, maybe a hot chocolate kind of morning here, and sweater weather afternoon. A lot of these areas failing to make it back up into the 60s. Have a good Christmas Eve and a wonderful Christmas.